Okay, we are live. So, hey y'all, welcome to my shop, or welcome to my living room. A little different here. Just making sure I get everything set up here, and I'll start answering some questions. So, if you have any questions, go ahead and add them into the live chat, and I'm gonna try and keep up live with that. But sometimes they tend to disappear quickly. So even if they don't. If I don't keep up with them, repost it again. That's perfectly fine. Or put them in all caps, and I might see them easier. So we will see how that goes. So a couple questions I got ahead of time. Doc Darkness asked, if you could only have one vice for work holding, what would you choose? And honestly, that is a bit of a conundrum for me. This might be a little easier if the microphone's actually closer. I think a face vise with a dog, I can do most everything with that. It has its downsides in that there is a screw in the middle and I can't always fit something in there. So if I'm doing joinery work where I need to have the board standing up, it is a bit of a pain. I'd say about 80 to 90% of what I do is with that face vise with a dog on the end. If I didn't have that, probably a leg vise. I can get most things done with that. But really, you need to have a collection of vices, different vices for specific things. A Moxon vise is fantastic, and it's something you can take on and off the bench. Leg vise can get an extreme amount of hold, so there's no reason to just have one. But yeah, there's 1,000 ways to do it. Let's see, any questions on here? Beautiful day here, Brad says. In Texas, well, it should be down there. Up here, it's actually a balmy, 42 degrees, so yeah. Live chat time. Yes, it is. Hi from the Caribbean. Ooh, my wife wishes she was down there. Don't you, babe?
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite kind of wood and why? My favorite wood is white oak. And that's kind of a bad thing for a hand tool person to say because it's not an easy wood for hand tools. It's very grainy. It splits out easily. It is fairly hard. If you're not going in at the right angle, you're going to get tear out. It's a difficult wood. But with that, you get a very, very, very broad variety of colors and grain patterns. And anytime you get into the figured parts where you're around a knot or curl, it is absolutely a gorgeous wood, and it's an extremely rewarding wood. And if you can master it, you can get a lot of things out of it. A very, very versatile wood, and I really like that. The problem is it is a pain to work with. It is not easy. It's not simple. But yeah, I think I like that for that reason. Just a lot of color, a lot of character, a lot of fun. But a fun wood. You're always going to have something new when you work with white oak. Anyone going to hand tool in Alma? Yeah, the hand tool. What is it called? Handworks. Handworks. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up now. If someone remembers the actual name for it, the hand tool thing in Alma, Iowa. Yeah, I'm going to be there. It is in May, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. Feel free to correct me. But yes, that is going to be a blast. It is like an entire event for hand tool people. I think it's Hand Tool Works. Hand Tool Woodworks? Oh, well, I'll remember. But yes, if you're going to be anywhere near Alma, Iowa, or even if you're not, drive there. It's a lot of fun. And it's free to enter. Hotels around the area are dirt cheap. And all of the major manufacturers will be there. I'll be there. And there'll be several other content creators there as well. Hey, TJ, how's it going? Good to see you on here again. Hi from Malaysia. Malaysia. Wow, that's all over the place. Good to have you here. Addy, A-D-Y. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. White oak, same one used on Japanese planes. Same used on Japanese planes, yeah. And one of the interesting things about oak, white oak is a very broad category. There are a bunch of different woods that fall in under white oak. And there is actually a white oak under white oak. But then there's also swamp oak, and there's a bunch of other oaks that are white oak, and so you never quite know what you're getting with. And then you start getting into the Asian white oaks, and then there are oaks in Europe that are very, very similar, feel very similar, just different characteristics of slightly different woods. And so there's an extremely wide variety of different types of white oak. Another reason why I like it. And one of the big differences, I really don't have a problem with red oak. Red oak just tends to be a little bit more bland. The rays on it are a little smaller. It's a little smoother. It's a little easier to work with. But I don't get all the character I'm looking for in white oak. So yeah, that's why I like it. A lot of Keller. Yes, everybody loves Keller theory. Still need to get those shirts made. That's going to be fun. If any of you don't know what I'm talking about with Keller theory, you should listen to the Crafted podcast, the podcast that I, Johnny Brook, and ZH Fabrications are on. It's a lot of fun. We talk about Keller theory. May 19th, yes, for the Hand Tool Works. Really, really looking forward to that. All of the big names will be there, and all of the like Lee Nielsen and Veritas and all of the craft tool makers are going to be there. It's a fantastic time to actually see a lot of things in use and get to play with them. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Have you ever used teak? Yes, I have used teak. Teak is kind of fun. Bit oily, a bit hard, but I mean, there are some variations in teak, but it's a fantastic wood. I like it. How y'all doing? I'm doing fine. How y'all doing? Not only wood. Love your channel, man. And not only wood. He has a cool channel. He does a bunch of things. He actually made marking knives, hand forged them. Very cool. TJ's Wood Shop also has a channel. Really cool stuff going on there. Handwork. There we are. Not Hand Tool Works. Handwork. It's every 2 years that they have Handworks. Connecticut. Good to have you here. Hi from Holland. Ooh, I like Holland. One of these days I want to get over there. But yeah, it's always the time and money. Germany. Cool. Good to have you. You recently talked about making a new bench for the new shop space. Would you change with respect to your current bench? What would you change with respect to your current bench? I haven't quite decided on what I want to make on this new bench, and it will be a very interesting compilation. I love the structure of the European or the bench with a skirt on it. It is a very stiff structure. I love the thick and beefy top of the Roubeau. I love the beefy legs of the Roubeau. I like clamps done a very different way. Vices to be, my own way. I like the leg vise. I like my face and tail vise. So it's going to be a very large compilation. And I think what I'm going to do is have like a Roubeau chassis. So thick legs, thick top, like 3 to 4 inch thick hardwood top. But then put a skirt on the back side of it. So I get the stiffness from the skirt, but I don't have it completely clogging up the front side of the bench, so I still can access underneath it. I think that's the one thing I don't like about putting a skirt on a bench is that you can't, it eats up a large space underneath the top where you can't store things as easily, you can't get to it as easily, and I like that space. So yeah, I'll probably put a skirt on the back side so I can still access it from the side I work on. But it will be my own kind of compilation of taking this from this and this from that and playing. I also do like to have 2 leg vices. I've really gotten used to having that. I like having 3 functional vices on the bench at any given time, so I can be having several projects in clamp or in vice. So yeah, that'll probably be something I'll do. You recently talked about making... Oh, and I just read that one. That was from Brad. Thanks, Brad. That was a good question. You know you're a good worker, but have you ever tried blacksmithing? I have not played with blacksmithing, and I really would like to. one of the things we were planning on doing was purchasing a large piece of property, and I would build a shop on the space. And one of my goals was to have a blacksmith space in the shop. But we decided to stay where we're at longer, so I am taking over more of the shop space in the basement. And so we'll actually stay here. But that means no blacksmith in the basement. That would make an interesting video, blacksmith working in the basement. But yeah, one of these days I want to get into that. It's kind of a natural thing. You really can't make tools without a piece of metal, and working with metal is its own fun, and something that's kind of separate. But yeah, one of these days I want to get into that, or at least work closely with another channel I might do. I don't know. We'll see. That'd make a good collaboration sometime if I had a blacksmith make the iron parts for some tool or something. I'm not so much into hand tool stuff, says not only wood. Yeah. I see a lot of people that get kind of elitist about hand tools, and I don't like that. The reason why I do hand tools is I like to show that it can be done with just hand tools. I don't have any problem with it, and as a matter of fact, I'm planning on eventually buying a table saw and planer, just so I can speed up production. I can show how it can be done by hand and put that in the video, and then run them through quicker so that I can actually put out more material and probably do more like furniture builds. But we'll see how that goes. Are you going to be in Atlanta at the end of the month? Yes, I am going to be in Atlanta. I'm really looking forward to that. And if any of you are anywhere near that or have the time free, Atlanta, not this weekend, but next weekend, is going to be blast. There's like 70 or 80 some YouTube channels that are going to be there. It is going to be a massive, massive undertaking. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being there. What do you think about German wood? Metal worker, do you like my stuff or the stuff from Not Only Wood and Crazy Timber? Who's this? Oh, Steel Buddy. Yeah, all three channels. I follow all three of you. So yeah, there's three more. Steel Buddy, Canard, and Not Only Wood and Crazy Timber. All three from Germany. Some really cool stuff. Yeah, the chisels I use most commonly for carving are two cherries, and they're made in Germany. I really like them. New milestone achieved today. Perfect card scraper sharpening. Freehand. Cool, Alex. I love that. It is amazing what you can do when you get a card scraper that's sharp and you get a really nice curl off of it. It just kind of, it suddenly changes everything in the shop. It's a very, very fun tool, and so simple. Once you actually get the hang of sharpening it, I think a lot of people really overthink it. And it's not something you have to do. Doc Darkness, how's the shop coming? Thanks, Doc. I love your new logo, Doc. That's cool. The shop is semi on hold. I'm really pushing to get the dresser done. That is my main massive goal right now. I've got to get the dresser done, and I'm holding off on everything else until I get that. After the dresser, if I can find a source for the wood, I'm going to build the bench, because I can't utilize the end and change around the video angle like I want to until I have a new bench that can fit in that space. My current bench is too long to fit in the end of the room. So yeah, it's all on hold until the dresser gets done. And as soon as the dresser gets done, then I'm gonna do other things. I already set up. I'm gonna be buying, or I'm gonna be getting lighting and a few other things like that. I'm gonna be doing a sawing bench here soon because I have more space for that. So yeah, a lot of fun things coming up. What's your next project from Crazy Timber? Well, yeah, getting the dresser done. I really want to make a couple router planes here soon, but those are going to fit in amongst, do I have time around the dresser? The thing that slows down the dresser is pumping out 2 videos a week. I want to get those 2 videos out a week, but the dresser doesn't always provide 2 videos a week because it's a lot of repetitive stuff. But soon I'm going to be able to do a lot more videos with the dresser. I'm going to be able to do the hardware installations, the finished details, the finishing of it, building the top. And so those are things that can go a little faster, and I can probably get an entire video out of those in the week. So that'll be coming along. Hi, Jimmy. How's it going? Shogun Jimmy's in the house. and another great YouTube channel. Did a collab with him just recently on carving, and I really like what you did. It was good. Oh no, another carver. Yes. What will be some of your future projects? Well, here, let me read through my list of projects that I actually have planned. Router plane, finishing the dresser. I want to do a video on making paste wax. Once the weather's warmer, I want to do a video on making boiled linseed oil, as well as a video on showing the spontaneous combustion of boiled linseed oil. That's kind of fun. A saw bench. I haven't figured out if I want to make a tool cabinet or if I want to do a French cleat wall where all the tools are hanging on the wall and displayed. We'll see how that goes. Making a wooden screw box. So how do you cut screws with a wooden screw box, but actually making the wooden box for it. How to set up a custom hand plane. Making a bow circle guide. Restoring wooden hand planes. How to set saw teeth. Cooking with hand tools. I'm looking forward to doing that video. Making a logo that hangs on my wall. A chisel table. In other words, basically a bench set aside for carving work. Making a shop stool completely with a chisel. That's a project I'm really looking forward to. I want to use just a chisel and do all the work required to build a piece of furniture with one chisel. That should be a fun one. Shaving horse, a sawtill, a lathe, beating plane, how to use a coping saw, a mobile vise. I want to make a bench that can go on a bench and I can take places. Fidget spinner, shop apron, a carving mallet, a saw bag so that I can take things around, how to drill square holes. So those are some of the video ideas I had coming up that should be kind of fun. That was from Louis Periv. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try that one. Thanks, Louis. Greetings from Finland. Good to have you here, man. Are you doing a promotion giveaway when you hit 20,000? Yes, I am. I was actually getting that set up for it earlier today, which I'm hoping will be like Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday I'll hit 20,000. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I am going to be giving away a tool that I make. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Two Cherries is giving away a card scraper and burnisher set, a really cool one. Rockler is giving away a 6-piece set of carving tools and a silicone project mat. And then American Greenlight is giving away 2 sets of fluorescent lights, and each of the sets will be 4 large shop light fixtures. Really, really cool prize. That one's like $400 a piece, and so he's giving away 2 sets of those. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that away for 20,000. He should carve out a giveaway. I don't know what you mean, but I think I probably could, Shogun. Have you tried making carving tools, stamps, gravers from old screwdrivers, nails, etc.? Not really. I often will use a file if I'm doing that. A file has very good steel for that edge. Screwdrivers aren't a very good tool steel. They tend to be a low carbon and a softer steel. So I don't. Every screwdriver is going to be different, though. You never know what you're getting. Whereas a file tends to be a little bit better of a material. So, yeah. When I make the screw box, I'm actually thinking about using a file to make the cutter head for it. So that should be fun. Hey, love watching your work. Thanks, India. Austin Morin. Hi from Hungary. Yeah, Attila. My parents are actually going to be in Hungary again this fall. My parents are itinerant missionaries, so they're all over the world right now. They're in South Korea, but they're often going back to Hungary. So one of these days I want to get out there and say hey to them while they're there. So I might have to say hey to a bunch of other people in Hungary. What do you think about processed materials, i.e. laminated flooring, boards, or base material for smaller projects? Cool. You can use whatever material you have. I am not a material snob. I have used bamboo flooring for projects in the past. I love working with Corian. I had a piece of Corian countertop that I can carve up. There are so many different applications and ways for things. Wood is just such a versatile and easy project that as long as I have stock for it, I don't use a lot of other things. Canada, Wood Nerd. I love that name, Wood Nerd. And another good YouTube channel, Wood Nerd. Collab on some router planes, not only wood. That'd be fun. Maybe we should do that. If you make the cutter heads, maybe I'll make the bodies, something of that nature. Yeah, email me. Well, maybe we'll work something out. What's the difference between what you do with what you do and what Chop with Chris does? Not too much. Chop with Chris does a lot of bigger projects. He does a lot of like framing work, like timber framing. He tends to do a lot more chopping. He does a lot of carving as well, but he tends to do a lot more with axes and making kind of a larger and more bigger things, whereas I tend to be a little bit more into the furniture and making tools and things like that. But we both do a lot of fun things like that. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with him in Atlanta next week. We actually just did a video. He interviewed me in my shop 4 or 5 weeks ago. That was kind of fun. Have collected so many hand power tools, all vintage, need restoration, and stands. My problem is, where do I start? A bit overwhelmed and bounce around. One of my goals in the shop is that whatever I do, I want it to be fun. I don't want to do something that I don't want to do. And so ask yourself, what would be the most fun? What is something that would be really interesting, something that keeps your attention? And then jump in from there. And, a lot of people will kind of look down at you for jumping around from project to project to project. But if that's what's fun for you, then do it. There's no reason to focus on that. The only thing that might make a bit of a clarification to that would be is if you need one tool to complete another project, well, then do that one tool first. When I was first starting out, a lot of my projects were I'm making a tool to make a tool that will help me make a tool that will help me make my bench that will help me make a tool. So you gotta the series of things. So what do you need to actually complete the task? That question was from Michael Scott. Good question. Whatever you want to have fun with. The shop is for having fun. It's not for doing things right. Yeah, I bought some boiled linseed oil, but have been nervous to use it. Boiled linseed oil kind of scares some people because it might blow up on you. But it takes a lot of very specific standards. And once you understand what those are, you can easily stay away from them. Number one, you have to have a lot of surface area open to air. And so if you have a crumpled up rag, you have a lot of surface area in there and it's all absorbed with oil. And it needs to have a low airflow, so very little air flowing over it, so that the heat inside the rag can build up. And the situation has to be perfect. So if a rag is out flat, the heat is going to easily dissipate from it, and it's never going to start on fire. So when I'm in my shop, when I finish with a rag, I just lay it out flat on the shop. I don't care about dunking it in oil or things like that, as long as it doesn't have a tight area that the heat is going to be able to build up. It's not going to be able to combust. It's not something to fear or worry about, as long as you don't wad up the rag and stuff it in an area where air can't get at it. It will do just fine. That was from Jared. Good question. I might have to add that when I'm going to be doing a video soon about actually making boiled linseed oil rags combust and putting them out in the fire pit. When I do that, I might talk about that. Is there a kind of wood in this world you haven't been working with? Yes, I haven't worked with most of the woods out there. There are more woods than any one person can work with in their life. Although I think Shannon Rogers is probably closest to completing the list of woods. There are a lot of fun ones out there I haven't used. What I would say, start with the one you would use the most. Oh, you're talking back to Michael. Yeah, that was from Chad. Cooking with hand tools. You mean like stirring a pot of chili with a wood rasp? I don't know. I have a bunch of ideas for that video, and I like occasionally doing fun, dumb videos, and I think I have some fun ideas for that one. So that one's coming up. I don't know when, but it will be an interesting video. You can use a hand plane as a cheese slicer. That would be a fun idea. It's a really thin sliced cheese. Would love to see cooking with hand tools ideas are floating. Yes, that's from Ezreal. Sorry, man, I have a problem with your name. Ezreal. Yeah. Love to see cooking with hand tools. I might have to bump that one off the list. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that sometime soon. I know someone who would like to carve. Yes, Shogun Jimmy. Matthew Thornton, hello. Well, hello to you. Okay, unfortunately, I gotta go. Thanks for being here, Doc. It's good to have you. How many of your tools have you made? Wow, that's I don't know, a lot of them. I have made most of my tools. I have made one type or another. Some of them I have made one just to show how I can make it, and then I'll go and use a mass-produced like Stanley or something, just because there's different things that I like about it. The number of how many tools, I don't know. It's been a lot. A lot of tools. And basically, if there's a tool out there, you can make it. There's nothing holding you back from it. It's just understanding the steps and figuring out what is the best way to do it. Like a cabinet scraper, I've never seen anyone else make a cabinet scraper quite like that. Shaped and feeling like a number 80 Stanley cabinet scraper. But I wanted to make it, and so I jumped in and made it, and made a few mistakes, but enjoyed it. So yeah, you can make anything you want. Actually, I only have one bad video up so far, so I wouldn't exactly say my channel isn't. I thought you had several, Wood Nerd. Okay, well maybe I was wrong. Well, you should put more up, because I like your name. I'm trying to improve my sharpening skills for hand tools. Any advice to help? I'm finding the learning curve quite steep. This is from Judd. For sharpening, especially if you're doing anything freehand, it's all about just doing it. You will never become better until you spend a ton of time doing it. And don't try to overcomplicate it. Just think about it and have fun with it. Start with a low grit, work your way up to a higher grit, finish off with a strop, or a really fine whetstone. And the more you do it, the more it will get better. And one of these days you will find this edge that is just like incredibly sharp and far beyond anything you ever realized to begin with. I don't say that I have mastered sharpening, and I've been at it for quite a while, and I have a lot more to learn. So it's never something that you'll just instantly be like, yes, now I can sharpen perfectly. So just keep at it and keep trying, and you'll get there. Woodworking in America next week. Woodworking in America next week? What do you mean? I don't know. Sorry, not Hollywood. I have 5 projects going right now. Today I edit the Maker Rock. Yeah, Shogun Jimmy, you have a lot of projects going on. A lot of cool videos too. I'm in the same boat, Judd. This is from Jeff. Yeah. Sharpening is just one of those skills that you just got to practice with it. And yeah, you can know all of the ins and outs, and you can know all of the differences between whetstones and diamonds and oil stones and different plates and sandpaper. But until you actually do it and do it a ton, you'll never actually be good at it. Yes, you can eliminate a lot of that by using jigs, but even jigs have their drawbacks, and there's things you have to learn about them and know how to set them up and know what little tweaks can make them better. So the only way you can do it is to learn. You have to do it. My favorite place to store boiled linseed oil rags is in the wood heater. Yes, if I had a wood burner in my shop, I would throw them in there. It's a great place to keep them. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's not WI next week. It's woodworking. It's the woodworking shows. WIA is taking this year off and won't be until next year. Good to know about boiled linseed oil. I suppose I don't need to be nervous about my house burning down. No, it is. Boiled linseed oil is a fairly stable oil. It just doesn't. The more surface area it has, the more it can react. And if it has enough surface area, the chemical reaction can go fast enough that it creates enough heat that eventually it gets to the combustion point of the rag that it's on. So as long as it needs to have two things. Number one, it needs to have a lot of surface area so that it can easily combust. And number two, it needs to have a area to keep that heat close to the surface. So if, number one, you lay the flat out and it can still have a large amount of surface area to heat up, but there's air movement that stops the heat from staying close to it, it won't combust. Or if there is less surface area by folding the rag up, well, even in that case, you might run into issues. So I don't think there's really a way of making it less surface area. But yeah, lay it out flat, put it in water, put it in a burn pile, not a problem. And as long as you don't wad it up and stick it in a corner, you'll be fine. Get a Tormek. Even with a Tormek, you can have all sorts of problems. They have things that make them very easy and things that make them a complete pain. So that was from Shogun Jimmy. Thanks. Haven't started any projects because I'm doing exactly that, restoring tools. Yeah, when I first got started, I bought a Stanley number 4. I bought a set of Harbor Freight chisels, and then I got a cheap plastic panel saw from a store for free. And I started working with those 3 items. You really don't need a lot to get going in woodworking. I spent a total of $12 on my first tools for my shop, and I started building my bench with that. You really don't need that much to really get into it. And you can make really beautiful things with very, very simple tools. The only thing we're getting more and more complex in different tools is it makes it easier, simpler, faster. In some cases more fun, and in some cases more frustrating because there's more setup work. So, got to keep working at that. Since sawing wood products dust, shouldn't you wear a mask while using a saw? Philip T. Since sawing wood products dust, shouldn't you wear a mask while using a saw? I guess I could use a mask while using a saw. But with the speed at which I'm making sawdust, it settles out of the air very quickly and really isn't much of an issue. I could wear a mask, but I don't really need to. And very, very little of what I do actually makes a fine enough sawdust to stay in the air. Most of it is very large chips or curls from hand planes and things like that. So, yeah, it's not as much of an issue. And Jared, yes, I am going to Handworks. Really looking forward to that. I already got my hotel booked out for it. When did you start woodworking and why? From Steel Buddy. I started woodworking when I was 5 years old. My dad was working in the shop. He made the family's dining table and then chairs and basically then everything else in the house. And I worked along with him. And so I've been working in the shop making things most all my life. The hand tools aspect is a new thing that's only a couple years old. I had been full power tools, and so it's a little bit different for me. But jumping into hand tools has been fun because it's kind of like relearning the fun of woodworking all over again as I get the passion of playing with the wood in a whole new way. And hand tools have brought that joy back to me that I'm loving. Would you consider a video on making a downdraft table for carving and sanding? No, not for what I do. For carving, the chips are too big for a downdraft table to move them. So there really isn't much of any reason for that. And I really don't sand much at all. The only reason I sand is if I have like a compound surface with like a handle or something of that nature. And I don't generally sand my carving much. Most all the flat surfaces I use either a plane to finish or a card scraper. Very little sawdust. So dust in the air really is not an issue for an all hand tools shop. Yeah, it's really not a problem. So I don't have any issue with that. I'm just coming out of this phase. Still have a lot to do though. Sorry, Jared. Reading down through, seeing if there's any. If I've missed anyone's questions, go ahead and repost them or put them in caps so I can see them. I'd love to catch up on them. Would you make a set of hollows and rounds? I've thought about doing that. I need to get the irons for them, and I don't know. But yes, I would like to make a set eventually. They're a very simple plane. The problem with making a set and shooting videos is once I make the first one, they're all basically the same, and so I have a lot of wasted shop time that I can't turn into videos. But I don't know. I might in the future. We will see. Or I might just make one particular set rather than making the whole set of all 16. So that is very simple. I would like to do that, yes. I have made other like shoulder plane and other molding planes and grooving planes and things like that. So if you want to see those videos, I do have those out as well. That was from Kyle Boone. But I'm sorry. Like a router plane. Yeah, router plane would be fun. If you like this question and give it a thumbs up. Thanks, TJ. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Never be scared to use a jig if you need to. No one cares. Yeah. Well, if you really think about it, every tool in the shop is just a jig for holding a chisel. Even a table saw is just a whole bunch of chisels on a circular formation, and the rest of the table saw is just a jig for putting chisels through the wood very quickly. So if you think about that, every tool in the shop is a jig. Everything boils down to just the simple chisel. So it's kind of one of those fun things about hand tools that you suddenly realize that, oh, I'm doing the exact same thing a table saw would do, just slower. Thanks, Tony. Tony says, great videos. Keep up the good work. I will continue to do so. I am having a blast making these, and it is a fun hobby for me. So I'm loving putting out videos, and I'm planning to do it for as long as I can see in the future. When you make your turning saw with a bandsaw blade, did you use when you made your blade, did you use a TPI 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch? Thinking of doing one. Mine was I think it was a 10 TPI 1/4 inch blade. 1/4 inch blade is what you want to use. 1/2 inch is too big for most turning saws. But yeah, actually I just broke the blade on it yesterday. I was expecting it to have broken a long time ago. So I'm making a new blade for that. But I might be making a new turning saw here soon. Not because that one's any problem, but I want to actually make one with a kit and show how that's done. So I don't know, might be making a turning saw. But a 1/4 inch blade, like around a 10 TPI, would be great for a turning saw. Was hoping to catch you live. Yes, thanks for being here, Rick. With 5 years is very young to start woodworking, is it? My 3-year-old is in the shop with me, so I don't think there is anything that's too young. Yeah, just have fun with it. That's one of the things I like about the hand tool shop, because there's less dust, there's less noise, there's no power tools to really be afraid of. It is a much, much safer environment for the kids. It's easier to oversee and to have fun with. And I made their own bench, so all 3 of mine, 3, 5, and 6 years old, are down in the shop banging away on their bench. And yeah, I don't think there is a point, as long as the kids can walk, have them in the shop, expose them to the fun. What is your favorite power tool? My favorite power tool, probably the router. The router table. Yeah, of all the power tools that I used to have, I think the router table was kind of the heart of my shop, because the table saw and the band saw, the joiner and the planer were the rough work saws. They're the ones that got things to the right size. And then the router would be what I did all the joinery on, and all of the detail work and the shaping and the final look. Yeah, I think the router is my favorite. But yeah, power tools. I ran the air filter in my shop just to see what would happen, and it caught practically nothing. Well, I guess it depends on how much is in the air. With a handsaw, you're creating so little dust so slowly that it settles out very quickly, and it doesn't keep much in the air. And also, the dust is much larger than you would make with a power tool, or especially with a power sander. Thanks for being here, Jared. Glad you could. What's your favorite hand tool? This is from Crazy Timber. It is whatever tool is currently in my hand. I love working with all different tools in all different ways. There really isn't a tool that I look at and be like, oh, I don't look forward to using that. I like my 1/2-inch chisel. I love my frame saw. Kerfing plane is a lot of fun. The vices I've made, making the bench. I can't pick a favorite. It's whatever tool is currently in my hand. That's my favorite tool. Don't want to assume, is your father the one and only from Wright shop? No. Roy Underhill, the Wright, from the Wright shop. No, it's not my father. It would be kind of funny. I've met and talked with Roy a few times, but he's not my father. Although if you want to meet Roy Underhill, he'll be at Handworks this summer. So looking forward to that. My favorite power tool is a nose hair clipper. Wow, Shogun, you really have a problem with that then, I guess. So I guess I've just met the end of the question. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them down in there. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I have planned coming up. And I've kind of touched on some of it in the future. Excuse me. I've kind of touched on some of it already. And one of the things I'm really trying to do with this channel is I'm trying to show the fun of woodworking. I don't want to show the perfection. I don't want to show the details of how to. I don't want to show the intricacies. You see those in a lot of other places, and there's places where you can actually learn very intricate details of how to do woodworking and how to do it correctly and how to make fine woodworking. And I don't want to do that. I want to show the fun of woodworking. And a lot of that is showing the how-tos and how I make things. But I really want to show the enthusiasm and the fun and the joy of what hand tool woodworking is. And so that's one of the reasons why I put out 3 videos every week. If I really wanted to show the detailed, high-quality how-to videos, I would back it down to one video a week, or even like one a month, and really put a lot of time into putting a lot of great information into it. Whereas with 3 videos a week, I get to show a lot more of the broader range of things that I like and enjoy, and what's going on in the shop, and what I love. And so that's why I'm sticking with it. Also, a while ago, I talked about getting rid of the shop report, and I really think I'm going to keep that. It is not as much of a yes, it kind of hurts the channel in its in the ratings, but oh well. This is about me having fun, and the shop report is a really good chance to show some of the other things that are going on behind the scenes and things like that. I want to keep that up. So, yeah, other things coming up in the future. What is your favorite or best source of hand tool education? Well, of course, my video. I learn a lot from a lot of different places. The hand tool school is a fantastic source. I'm in there all the time. For carving, Mary May, you just can't get any better. Her videos are straight on point and great. I love YouTube. And all of the great videos on there, Paul Sellers and places like that. Let's see. I'm on Reddit quite a bit. Lumberjacks. I'm also a member of the Marks Magnolos Guild. Great information on there. Great forum on there as well. A lot of good questions. The Hand Tool Woodworker group on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm on there quite a bit. So I did a video recently on hand tool resources. So if you want to look that up, you can probably see more on that. Good to have you, TJ. I always love seeing you in the house. Thanks for being here. Worst hand tool you ever bought? That's a good question. Craftsman chisel set. the Craftsman chisel set, they're supposed to be really good. Plastic handle, metal shaft, but they would not hold an edge for anything. They were a pain to sharpen. They had square sides, just really, really bad design. They felt bad in the hands. I think that's probably the worst thing I've ever bought. Normally, I don't have any problem with the cheap chisels, but yeah, those were trash. Hey Terry, good to have you here. Who do you want to meet at the show, Shogun Jimmy? Well, I want to meet you, number one. Hoping you're going to be there. But I want to meet a lot of different people. I want to see fans from the audience. I want to see, yeah, everyone. Looking forward to hanging out with a lot of channels. There's going to be like 70 some channels there. So a lot of good people. Johnny Brooks, Zach from ZH Fabrication. We're going to be doing an actual meetup afterwards. So yeah. It's going to be a fun time. And if any of you have any possibility of getting to Atlanta, not this weekend, but next weekend, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm taking a workshop with Underhill this weekend. That would be fun. I've never actually had a chance to go down and do a workshop in his space down there. That would be a blast. This was David Justice. And I'm looking forward to someday getting down to his shop. I have some Narex chisels that are not great. Do chisels $50 plus per chisel make much of a difference? I haven't really had much of a problem with Narex chisels. I'd love to hear what you have a problem with them. If you are big into hand tools and you know what good chisels feel like and you've spent several years working with them, then yes, the high-end, expensive chisels will please you. But until you get to that point, like my chisels, my go-to standard bench chisels are from Aldi, the grocery store. They sell them every year for Father's Day, and I like them. They're not the best steel in the world. They wear out fairly quickly, but I can resharpen them, and they feel good. And I think that's one of the most important things for me in a chisel is how does it feel in your hand? What is the geometry of the sides of the shaft? How does it feel? How does the handle, the wooden handle feel? When you're getting started, don't pay for expensive chisels. Just use cheaper chisels. You have to sharpen them more often, but oh well, you get to learn how to sharpen them, and you get to be good at that. Some of the antique chisels out there are fantastic, and you can get some really good prices on them. But yeah, I would like to know what you don't like about the Nerix chisels, because I've actually rather enjoyed them. But everyone's a little different, so whatever. Question: do you have a suggestion for good first project that can help build skills? What do you want to make? That's the best first project you can make. Find something that really excites you and you get to have fun. I don't care if it is something as massive as a set of drawers or something as simple as a bookend. You can learn anything you need to make any project as your first project. Look for something that has different joints and different ways of connecting wood, so you get to practice different methods. Yeah, just anything out there would work great. I mean, a coffee table is a great thing because you tend to have a lot of different joints. You can have mortise and tenon and different butt joints and half lap and dovetails in a drawer, and how do you do the casework on a top. Yeah, just a lot of different ideas. But don't stress over what would be a good first project. There is no such thing. Find something that you really want to do, something you're enthusiastic about, and jump into it. Because the enthusiasm will carry you far better than, oh, I'm actually learning something good here. Yeah, that's what I like to tell people. Just bought a set of Nerix, haven't used them. I have read mixed reviews. Yeah, if you're hearing from someone who really knows their chisels and knows good quality steel, they're going to look at Nerix and go, they're kind of cheapish. They're trying to be good chisels, but they're not high-end chisels. They're the mid-grade chisel. They're not dirt cheap, but they're not high quality. So it depends on who you're asking and what reference they're coming from. Will you be using French cleats to mount your tools to a rack when you build your shop? I am currently leaning towards a French cleat wall. I don't know. I've thought about building a tool cabinet and building individual cabinets for things and mounting those to the wall, but I might end up doing a modular French cleat wall. I don't know. We will see. Although I'm thinking about going modular French cleat with everything, so should be kind of fun. Highly suggest a bench. Wood Nerd referring back to Michael's question about what to build first. See the Naked Woodworker from Lost Art Press. Yeah, really, if you don't have a bench, that is the first project you should build, because everything after the bench becomes easier. And you'll find that you'll probably need to make a few things in order to make the bench, and that's great. But a bench is a fantastic first project, because then you have it to continue on in the future. Good point, Wood Nerd. Terry saying they're way better than my Home Depot chisels, but they're not great. I use a friend's Lee Nielsen's, and they felt incredible in my hand. Well, yes, Lee Nielsen is a much better chisel. Yeah, and it really goes back to the feel. I mean, does the chisel feel good in your hand? And I like the ones from Aldi's. They feel very good in my hand. The shape is nice. So each one for themselves. I mean, my first chisels are the wooden handles from Harbor Freight, and I still use those. The handles are kind of crunky, and they're not a great chisel, but hey, for $9 for 7 chisels, you can't go wrong. You get what you pay for, though. From Portugal. Hey, man. Good to see you here. The English Woodworker is running a detailed video course at the moment. Yes, the English Woodworker is a great source. I love his stuff. I've wanted to go and buy his courses, but haven't yet. I love hearing his voice. He's a cool guy. One of these days I want to get out and meet him. If your viewers want to check it out, James. Yeah, definitely go. For Wood Nerd, actually heard playing a bench top was going great until I tried to install half tools. Sorry, I'm trying to read, Michael. I'm trying to read your... was going great until I tried to install half a tool trough, driving me crazy to level and flatten across the gap. Oh, so you like putting a tool trough in the middle. Yeah, I honestly hate tool troughs in a bench. I find them just as a place to collect junk, and it is no longer a usable surface of the bench. I don't like them, but it's personal taste. And then flattening across it, you got to have a very long plane. Yeah, number 8 is required for that, basically. What TV shows do you like? I honestly don't watch any TV. I don't have a TV connection in the house. I watch everything online. I love Roy Underhill's The Woodwright Shop, but I don't watch any TV woodworking. I don't buy DVDs. I like YouTube and online sources where I can learn at my own pace because I learn much, much faster than other people. So that is what I like. Picked up some Harbor Freight chisels yesterday. Looking forward to sharpening them. Yeah, the Harbor Freight chisels are a great chisel to learn on because, even if you completely mess them up, then oh well, you just spent a little bit on them and you can always sharpen them back to a new edge. They won't last you, your entire life. The handles will eventually break off on them, but the steel's not that bad. You're going to sharpen it more often. Oh well. But yeah, they're great. Can't beat it for the price. Do you sand between coats of boiled linseed oil? No. I do not let my boiled linseed oil cure before putting on another coat. I keep putting on boiled linseed oil until it stops soaking in, and then I wipe off the excess and let it dry, and it's done. Well, until I put like a paste wax on. But no, I don't sand in between BLO. BLO is not a film finish. It is a soak-in finish. So it's not going to... you're not like with a film finish, you're actually building up a layer of material on top of the wood, and so you want to sand that smooth. Whereas with BLO, the wood is always on top, and you're just you're soaking into the wood, and it's coming between the fibers. So when you sand between coats with BLO, you're actually sanding the wood. No reason to do that. Did you say Aldi? We just started getting those here in California. Yes, Aldi, the grocery store. For Father's Day, they have a set of 4 chisels for like $7. And in the past, they have been very, very good chisels. For the money, phenomenal. Not the best steel in the world, but really not bad. And they feel good to me. They're nice to whack. They're a good chisel. I want to start woodworking and DIYing. What is the first expensive tool to get? Table saw, lathe, etc. When people ask me about what tool should I get first, I ask them, what project do you want to make? Do not buy tools to have them in the shop and have them available. Those tools will sit there and those will be the tools you regret. Buy tools you need to complete a task. So, if you are working with pre-dimensioned material, then you don't need a planer, a joiner, or a table saw. If you're going rough sawn work, you're going to need to have a way of flattening and jointing it. And so ask yourself, what tools do you need to complete the task rather than what tools should I start with? Because the project should be the first thing, not the tool. Find the project you want to work with, find your wood, and then get the tools to complete the task. Don't get the tools and then say, what project should I make? Portland, Oregon. Good to have you on here. Vince started. I'm planning on French cleat with the cabinets for French cleats from Chad. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm thinking about doing is on the French cleat wall have a big tool cabinet that hangs on the French cleats. It would be nice to make a tool cabinet, but I don't know. I think if I'm doing French cleat wall, I'll want to do everything individual and modular. We'll see. Aldi, ALDI. That's the store. I don't know what it is in Europe or if they're... I think it's a German store, but I'm not sure. But over here, they're all over the place. I only like screwdrivers and a hammer for basic toolbox I bought. I doubt I could make anything worthwhile with that. Well, if you sharpen up the standard blade screwdriver, you could turn it into a chisel, and if you have a chisel and a mallet or a hammer, you can make just about anything. So yeah, it's possible. uh, whoop. Yes, first project is a jig to make something you want to make. And really, when you're first starting off, you're going to find that you usually are making a jig or a tool to make a jig or a tool that's designed to make a jig or a tool to help you get towards your first project. So first project is something you're going to you always have a list for. And once you get going, your list of projects is so long that it'll be what drives you on. What is paste wax, James? Not familiar with it, the term in the UK. Paste wax, if you buy it from the store in a pre-made thing like Minwax paste wax, it is a wax and then an oil that allows it to flow easier, and then a dryer, a chemical dryer that will harden the wax back to its normal state. A homemade paste wax is basically a mixture of a wax and an oil. And so one of the common ones is boiled linseed oil and beeswax. And you melt those two together, and then you let it cure, and it becomes a semi-hard wax that you can then put onto your surface and buff it out. I want to do a video here soon on making a few, but there's thousands and thousands of recipes out there of what your combination is between oil and wax. Whether you do like a paraffin wax, which is a much harder, more robust wax, or a beeswax, which is a nice mellow wax, or like a candle wax. There are thousands of different things out there. Aldi, yeah, from Germany. Aldi indeed is German, yeah. Good store. Always get our groceries there. Just got my new DMT whetstones. 10 by 4 inch. We'll try it out. 10 by 4 inch. Ooh, the big ones. Yeah, I love my diamond stones. They are fast. They are easy. You don't have to worry about flattening them. They're always there. They're ready to go. Just fantastic, fantastic stones. And I love them. So I guess that's about it. Yeah, so I guess that's about it for today. So this has been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next month. If I didn't get into your questions, feel free to email me anytime. I'd love to see that. You can see my email if you go to woodbywright.com and contact. There's an email place there. So yeah, lots of things coming up. If there's something you want me to do in the future, let me know. And I think that'll about do it for today. So thank you all for being here. And until next time, have a wonderful day.